In this episode, the Linux Foundation adds a new fellow, Wine advances ActiveX, and the Linux Standards Base 4.1 beta. You're listening to Linux News Log, separating the Linux and open source signal from the noise, a proud member of techpodcasts.com. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm your host Adrian, coming to you almost live from lovely Phoenix, Arizona, here in Studio C1 at Quicksurf Internet Media. Linux News Log is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Do feel free to head on over to techpodcast.com and check out all the other technology-related shows over there. Let's go ahead and get into the stories for Season 11, Episode 17. From Dr. Dobbs over at drdobbs.com, double-take availability for Linux version 4.7. Vision Solutions has today launched double-take availability for Linux version 4.7. It's an information availability tool with new data protection and replication features for systems running in virtual or physical Linux environments. Using kernel-based virtual machine support to allow Linux users all the advantages available from virtual machines, the new enhancements are intended to enable users to utilize the latest features available in the Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6 operating system. So this is pretty neat. By all means, check it out for those of you who are in the market for that sort of thing. From MarketWire, the Linux Foundation has appointed a new fellow, OpenEmbedded core developer and Yocto project maintainer Richard Purdie has joined the Linux Foundation. The rise of Linux in mobile and embedded computing is placing new demands on Linux software development while opening new opportunities for tools and infrastructure to ease that development. The Linux Foundation's Fellowship Fund provides financial support for resources that can accelerate development efforts and spur the adoption of Linux and open source software. As a Linux Foundation Fellow, Purdie will work full-time on the Yocto project, OpenEmbedded, the Pokey project, and other embedded Linux development initiatives. So this is pretty neat. Congratulations, and make the most of it. From InternetNews.com, Wine advances ActiveX support for Linux and GTA 4. This is kind of nice. From the Run Windows on Linux department, for those Linux users that need or want to run Windows applications in Linux, here's some good news for you. Wine 1.3.9 is now out, providing new stability and compatibility options. At the top of the list of new features in Wine is the beginning of new ActiveX support in the browser. That's right. Moving beyond ActiveX are a long list of fixes for Windows games that will now work on Linux. So pretty neat stuff. Grand Theft Auto, Civilization 4, there's a whole list. Check it out. From Advertiser Talk over at advertisertalk.com, Artila releases Linux-based ARM9 ready-to-go system on module. This is really cool. Artila Electronics, the leading designer and manufacturer of Linux-ready ARM9 industrial PCs, is proud to announce the launch of the M502. It's an ARM-based Linux system on a module. M502 ARM9 Linux-based system on modules, the new generation of Artila SOM product selection. The M502 is powered by a 400 MHz ARM 926 EJS ARM thumb processor with memory management and equipped with 64 megs of SD RAM, 128 megabytes of NAND flash, 2 megabytes of data flash. It's also pre-installed with Linux 2.6.29, BusyBox, and light TTP web server and various hardware device drivers. So this is pretty cool. If you want to do some like little tiny embedded stuff, this is a really great base framework for doing that sort of thing. Pretty neat stuff, man. Check it out. From Information Week, the Linux Foundation introduces the Linux Standards Base 4.1 beta. All of the major commercial Linux developers are certified to Linux Standard Base 4.0, the Linux Foundation announced on Wednesday. The roster includes Canonical, Kylin, Linpus, Mandriva, Neoshine, Novell, Oracle, Red Flag, and Red Hat. Now, 4.1 is now out in beta. I would expect to start seeing once it becomes finalized, all the major distribution manufacturers to start to march towards that. Standardization of stuff is a very good thing. It makes things more consistent between distributions, and things are just much better that way. Believe me. From Hot Hardware, Ubuntu streams MP3 music through iPhone and AirPlay. If you have an iPhone or iPod, a large collection of MP3s, and a great home theater system, Ubuntu has an app for you. The Linux distro maker has introduced a way to stream the music from its cloud to your home system using Apple's AirPlay. Now, I understand a lot of people are in the Linux space are very anti-Apple, and that's fine. Now, the article points out that even though that they're poking fun at the idea that the Linux faithful will own so much Apple gear and also pay for a cloud service, the streaming service is a breakout use of AirPlay, and I agree, and that's why I included it here. You have to realize not even a 10% of my audience is a Linux user. 90% of my downloads come from iTunes users, believe it or not. I know I don't really share statistics that much here on the show, but the vast majority of my audience does not use Linux, and or if they do not download the show in Linux. They actually download the MP3 or the iPod compatible version of the show in iTunes. So, or they watch it off of YouTube or one of the other online streaming services. And that's the reason why I included this, is because this is interesting to the vast majority of my audience. They might actually use something like this, seeing as they are using iTunes and probably have Apple devices or an iPhone or an iPod or iPod Touch or something along those lines, and this might actually work for them, or an Apple TV, or really pretty much anything. So anyway, I thought it was pretty neat. By all means, check it out. It's definitely got some potential. They've got some screenshots up here. I may actually just include the screen capture of this web page so you can see it, but pretty good stuff, man. Pretty neat. From techie.www.com, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6 Virtualization and Scalability, a Technical Know-How. Now, I included this article. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I included this article primarily for the tech heads out there who want some information on virtualizing and making things scalable. This is a technical know-how article. I have not read the entire thing through just yet. I've kind of skimmed through a little bit of it, and it seemed worthy enough to include. So if you don't like it, let me know. Linux@quicksurf.com. Otherwise, I'll be in the future looking for other stuff similar to this that I can share with my audience for those that might be interested in something of this nature. So by all means, check it out, and let me know what you think. That'll pretty much do it for this edition of Linux News Log. As always, everything we've talked about is linked up in the show notes, linux.quicksurf.com. And shoot me an email, linux@quicksurf.com. You can follow me over at twitter.com/Adrian_bacon. And I've got a bunch of other ways of following me online linked up in the show notes. And with that, I will see all of you on the next episode. I'll see you then. Bye.